And to say that Mashiach is an insult when he has Kodesh, right? It's like in well, I won't bring the analogy, but anyway,
number one, they're going to say
bits about that.
They're going to say it's a translation from the Greek, number one, always, or Latin. Number two, they're going to say it's heretical. So there's something in it that's heretical. So these things are always going to accompany any discussion.
Well, there's what I would call an infamous article by, oh boy, it's been a long time since I worked on this, by George Howard. Yes. And George Howard makes the statement in the article. And look, this is a peer-reviewed journal article. It's in a very respectful, publication. And he says that in the Shem Tov's Hebrew Matthew, I've obviously worked more on that than this. He says that Jesus isn't called the Messiah, and that was to strip him of his title Messiah. What he really meant to say, and he misspoke, was in this particular verse, there's the Latin word or Greek word Christos and not the Hebrew Mashiach. But in other verses, the word Mashiach appears there. So that's a lesson. Look, if you would have asked George Howard, he's like, yeah, I published a lot of articles. I didn't formulate that well, right? Look, I do that all the time. I'm trying to say something, and in my head, it makes perfect sense. And somebody later says, Nehemia, why are you misleading the people? You said X, Y, Z. Okay, so you're saying I didn't formulate it well? Okay, fair criticism, right? Am I trying to deceive people? No, I'm not perfect, right? So I think there's assumptions here that they're bringing into the study of the text. And look, I mean, from my perspective, to say Mashiach is an insult, but not mention 2 lines below, it's Kodesh, is almost... So obviously the person who wrote that was unaware of that or didn't think it was important. I don't see how, to me, it's important, right? There's obviously a phonetic confusion between sh and sa that has nothing to do with insults, right? Yeah. Somebody who sees lust in the pipes, right?
I agree, but there is such strong and consistent evidence of anti-messianic bias. Saying messianic, because these are basically messianic scribes that are doing the translation.
But you're not saying, so I'm asking you, are you saying David Cohen, who supposedly is one of the scribes, that he's messianic? Is that what you're saying?
He is messianic.
Wow.
Well, Leopold van Dort, who hired him.
No, Leopold van Dort was definitely a Jewish Christian. That's not disputed, right? Right. So what she found, Masha van Dort, and here we got to give her amazing credit. I think she found like the conversion documents or something. I don't remember what it was. It's in the interview. She found like primary documentary evidence of his conversion, the reason he converted, the context in which he converted, something with his half brother, and it's the whole story. Right, guys, listen to the interview. It's fascinating. So that's amazing historical research she's done there.
I know
on the Dutch material that I would have no access to, right? Yeah. And some of it's German as well. So there you really have to give her credit. She doesn't claim to be a Hebrew expert, though. So we have to really be, I think, generous with her when it comes to that. She's telling us this is what other scholars have said, this is what Delitzsch said, right? And I think there's some room for criticizing Delitzsch, and maybe we'll get to that in the second part.
I would be, I understand she wouldn't have any idea about that, and you don't seem to either, but that adds 2 more to my list. Delitzsch was saying that the scribes were saying insulting things, and so was...
So the question is, why doesn't Delitzsch mention Ruach HaKodesh? Delitzsch is a Hebrew expert. He should immediately... Here's my takeaway, and I'm guessing here, I don't know. My guess is that Delitzsch went to Cambridge and spent like half a day with the manuscript and made some notes. And when he got back to Leipzig in Germany, he wrote up his article, he wrote up his book, he wrote up a chapter in a book about it, like 7 pages, and didn't have the ability that we have to pull it up on the computer screen and see the photo and say, oh, you know what? 2 lines below, it says the word Kodesh with a samach. And so, maybe there's another explanation, right? That's the generous interpretation. So yeah, I'm going to ask you to do this, to say some final words in this, and then we're going to do part 2, where we're going to talk about what I think is a bombshell of a discovery. I spent the whole morning preparing for this interview, thinking I've got a gotcha with Miles, and it turns out it's a gotcha with Delitzsch. So,
may I point out one thing?
Please. Yeah, absolutely.
And
One thing.
I appreciate you guys very much. I'm not an archaeologist or a linguist, but when you look at the other script here that you're talking about, this is the more familiar Babylon or whatever script.
This is what we call a square script.
Yes,
Square script. It's beautiful.
It's easy.
But Shem Yeshu, it does not have Hatameh on the front.
Exactly. That's why Delitzsch has it in brackets. Because in one manuscript it's there and the other one it's not.
And then in this case, because I can see the hen scratchings of the other scribe on this manuscript, I'm going to say that this manuscript was owned before the other one, the other codex was assembled by that scribe. And I'm going to say that scribe did add Hatameh on there. And this is just another example of it, because I've seen many of them, especially in the book of Revelation, where that other scribe did add things that were not there. So
I'm not a linguist either. I'm a philologist. And in philology, we have like this is philology 101. We have two manuscripts. A was copied from B, or B was copied from A, or A and B were copied from C, right? Yeah. And there could be a million different letters intermediary, right?
Right.
A was copied from C, and B was copied from D, and then they were both copied from, right? So we don't know the relationship precise. I don't know the relationship, let me say that, between these manuscripts. But one of them has Hatameh and one doesn't. And then you have to ask the question, did somebody take out the insult? Why would he do that? And why would I can understand why somebody would add an insult if he's a Jewish scribe and he's bitter about the history really tense history Jews have had with Christians. And so if he says, if I'm going to have to copy this, I'm going to put an insult in, then I can understand. Why is a Jewish scribe? Now, maybe it's a Messianic scribe and he takes out the insult. That makes sense. But yeah, these are complicated things. They're not so straightforward. But to say the translator put in the insult when it's not in the other manuscript, it's strange to me. I don't know. It could be. It's possible.
We've already had one bombshell. We're waiting for bombshell number 2. And then
guys, I'm gonna ask you to come over to nehemiaswall.com and watch part 2 because we've been going for too long.